Top of the morning to you.
Come with us as we go bicycling through the past. There have never been so many antique bikes together as there were in Findlay at the June 1991 rally. You won't want to miss bicycling through the past.
Open up. Stay with me.
I think we're in group 4.
All over.
On your left.
More than 400 antique bicycle enthusiasts rolled into Findlay the last week in June. They came from 35 states and 11 countries worldwide.
There have never been so many bikes together at one time. This is a very unique event because there never really have been this many basically century-old bicycles together at one time.
They were bicycling through the past. It was all a part of the 1991 Wheelman's Annual National Meet and the International Veteran Cycle Association's 11th International Rally. They were having a Victorian celebration, riding their 100-year-old bicycles past homes from the same era in Findlay, a town that was enjoying a growth spurt during this time of genteel mannerisms.
This was during the Victorian era, and to kind of clarify Victorian, we're talking about the reign of Queen Victoria in England, which was like 1837 to 1901, I believe. And we usually think about the manners and the customs of the time, very prudish, pompous, very ornate, and that's brought out usually in the architecture, which there's some fine examples of Victorian architecture in Findlay from that time period.
Drop-off up there, you might want to use the They don't want to get down, huh? Ready? Step. Go. Looking across that bridge. These three guys?
Okay, if everybody, we're trying to get a collection of high wheels up the set of stairs to do a shoulder brace up top. If everyone on the left-hand side of the stairway make a little path, we're going to carry up like 3 or 4 high wheel bicycles up to the top stairs.
I know you're not all comfortable, so let's do it as quickly as we can. Photograph in t-shirts and things of that sort. Please, if you are in a t-shirt, show only your head.
Crowder up here.
Thank you.
Carol.
Those of you on the
Top step. Top step, please.
behind you, close the door, please. Everybody look at the camera. Make sure you've got your sunglasses off. Make sure you can see the camera. Okay, I'm going to run up and get the
One more.
It is our pleasure to share with you our exploration into the history of bicycling, not only in America, but with our international guests worldwide. The demonstration this noon will be roughly chronologically arranged, starting from the earliest wheeled vehicle for a single individual of which we are aware. When one had to walk through the forests by foot, doing the forest surveys in Germany, one could not cover very much ground and tired easily. And so a Baron von Drey invented the wooden-tired walk-along or hobby horse or draisine. And some Frenchmen discovered that you could put pedals on that front wheel. And so we have the velocipede. Above the small wheel, on the left-hand side of the backbone, as we call it, there is a step. If one puts the foot on the step, somewhat like a scooter, starts the machine moving forward, it gains stability by its motion, kind of like a gyroscope. And so pushing the bike forward, you stabilize it, and then using the leg that's on the step, you can lift yourself up over the saddle. Ready? Step, mount. Now, of course, the next question is, how does one get down? There are several ways. We recommend that you learn first how to get off when the pig crosses the road in front of you, or the horseman sticks his crop in your front wheel. That's the emergency dismount, and you go right off the back. Dismount. Have we got a pedal mounter out there? Have we, among the demonstrators, someone who will pedal mount? Right here. Okay. During the period of the high wheel bicycle, the 1880s, elegance was a term that was properly applied to gentlemen as well as ladies. During the 1880s, gentlemen aspired for elegance as well as the ladies. And so getting on with the step wasn't very graceful, nor was getting off by jumping on the back so graceful. And so David will show us the pedal mount and the pedal dismount. The pedal mount and the pedal dismount. Probably the most commonly used mounts during the period, but difficult enough to learn and hard enough on the old machines that not many of us use it today. Thank you, David. Now the other thing, you will notice that whenever that front wheel moves, the pedals go round. In order to coast the ordinary bicycle, one had to get the feet out of the way of the rapidly turning pedals. And so the proper coasting position for the ordinary bicycle is with the feet out over the handlebars. It's his feet that hit the ground first, not his forehead. If he had left his feet on the pedals and the bike went over, the handlebars serve as a saddle strap or a seat belt, and it's your head that gets there first. This was so common that it was given its own name. It was called taking a header. We're told that the local newspapers of the period often each week when they would come out, had a list of those who had taken a header. And it told you that there was the lucky list that went to the hospital. Yeah. There was the other list that needed the hearse. Yeah. This is what you do when the train was crossing the road and you had to wait till it went by, or when the horse-drawn team was blocking the intersection, you had to wait till it went by. You'd simply pull up beside your comrades and brace on the shoulders. A good example of a shoulder brace. Now, can we stop it?
There's another.
Up. The trick is to have at least one rider with a pedal he can push down to start the group forward again. This is the Eagle from Stamford, Connecticut. American Eagle. One big problem with this design probably kept it from becoming the most popular of all high-wheel bicycles. Nobody to date has figured out where to put the step. And so one had to learn how to use the pedal mount. And there was a smaller group of riders who were able to do that. The American Eagle, one of the most comfortable of the touring high-wheel bicycles. Notice how he can quite safely lean forward. In fact, he can stand up and just drive those pedals down, which would create a header on an ordinary, makes this a hill-climbing high-wheel bicycle. Now, you kids remember the bicycles that did the wheelie? Doing a wheelie's how you get off of this guy. Simply pedal hard, pull back. You drop right off the back. And now we have on the other side of the American Star. Now note that we have a whole new drive mechanism this time. Instead of pedals, you have two ratchets or two levers. When one pushes down on the lever, the belt that's wrapped around the ratchet turns the ratchet forward, and then when one releases the pressure, the spring inside pulls the lever back up. And during this period, ladies who allowed their extremities to be seen in public were considered to be of rather loose morals. One wore high shoes and long skirts so that the ankles weren't showing. These were beautifully built machines, but terribly heavy. Almost like the dandy horses of an earlier period, they were really restricted to rather good roads. You know, just recently, there's a foreign car company that's been telling us about the double steering, you know, steer the front wheels and steer the back wheels. What's he think so new about that?
Cool,
The Rotary Tricycle on the far side and the quadrant double rotary, both have front and back steer. As a matter of fact, let me point out, when the rotary comes around, Bill Short is riding a Rotary Tricycle, as it's called. And have a rather close look at that. And then watch the rotary tandem come by. This is a rotary with a sidecar, powered sidecar. When tandems came into popularity, there were two kinds of tandems. There's the one we're most common with, one person in front, one person behind. And then there were the tandems with the people side by side. These were called the sociable tandems for quite obvious reasons. Have you ever tried to have a conversation with the back of your partner's head? Children were also provided with tricycles where funds would allow. No, we are not talking about toys. The ordinary bicycle, in its day, was the same part of a man's earning capability that a Chevrolet was in the 1960s. Here's a children's tricycle, and this particular style is known as a Governess Tricycle. Is by chance the governess around to show us what we mean? Or can you stand in, David? When the youngster got tired, this machine is so built that the steering tiller is also a bail by which it can be pulled, and the little person can be brought home safely and comfortably. This song reflected the fact that with the now accepted rational dress for women, women were all of a sudden candidates for this marvelous recreational activity called cycling, and it exploded. If the finances were such that the man owned the tandem, he could ride over to her house during the courting phase, pick up her and hopefully her picnic basket, and go off for a day tour together. If finances were the other way around, she could own the tandem and ride over to his house. Two elegant ladies' safeties. Notice the guards over the rear wheel to protect the skirts, to keep the skirts out of the fender. Also the chain guards, often laced with string. And we must congratulate our ladies for having gone through the effort of finding and reproducing the Victorian type costumes and then wearing them in this very warm weather. Thank you so much, ladies. The Ingo bicycle out of the late 20s and early 30s.
And I won't try to predict what you're going to see, but I'm going to invite onto the circle some of our better trick riders and simply let them amaze you and entertain you for a while. Just slow riding, he says, to begin with. We very often put 2 marks on the track, and instead of giving the award to the one who crosses the second line first, you give it to the one who crosses the second line last without having gotten off his bicycle or reversed it. Some people can ride these things backwards, and that's not permitted. As a matter of fact, Wheelman in the crowd, will you see if you can get for me the gentleman from, I believe it's one of the Europeans, one of the Czech fellows that rides it backwards. Oh, Peter from Ireland. I saw him riding it backwards today, and they'd love to see it, I'm sure. Okay, now, he's gotten off the bicycle. He has one foot on the step, and he's using the pedal on the same side as the step. He's completely on one side of the machine. Now, how do you get back? Michael Gabrick, who is now showing you one of the prone positions on the bicycle, is also the wheelman who has the modern-day record for, in fact, the all-time record for the shortest crossing, San Francisco to Boston. Okay, now, here we go, standing in the saddle. I mentioned Michael Gabrick is the rider in the olive. David Gray is the rider in the navy blue trousers. Michael Gabrick from Wisconsin and David Gray from Pennsylvania. No hands, Ma. How about no hands? How about legs over no hands, Mike? Okay, here we go. Peter, I saw you earlier riding that thing backwards. Will you be willing to show it to all of us? Shoulder brace, no hands. Okay, here Peter goes. Let's see if he can make it go backwards this time. At least making it stand still. I can't even do that. All right, will all of the wheelman demonstrators who are still in the staging area just walk the machines back out onto the paved area, please? Any of the wheelman riders that are still in the staging area, please bring the machines back out onto the area. And to our gracious hosts from Findlay, our grateful thank you for your, not only your wonderful hospitality, but your very courteous attention to our attempt at sharing the history of the bicycle with you.
Richard Porth from Waltz, Michigan, got on his neighbor's antique bike about 20 years ago, and 25 bikes later is still riding.
This particular bike is an 1890 White Flyer made in Massachusetts. And so far, it's the only bike of this kind known to exist.
So that's an original bike?
Yes, 1890.
Tell us about it. What are its characteristics?
Well, it's ratchet drive.
What's that mean?
It means you push the pedals up and down, and it coasts. Very unusual drive mechanism. The problem with the bicycle is it was very heavy, so it wasn't popular, and very, very few were ever made. This particular bike is frame number 19, and we don't know of any other one. This is the only one so far.
How much does it weigh?
About 60 pounds.
How much do you think the bike is worth?
What do you want to say? I've been offered some enormous sums.
James Spillane from Connecticut restores antique bicycles and builds new ones that may sell for more than $5,000.
I've been in the machine tool business all my life, and to find that the people do the work that they do or had done 100 years ago on these, and today it's difficult for many of us to do some of the work, you really admire the ability of the people in that era, and it's quite a job.
Twas a hot summer's day when they wheeled into town, these bicyclists from the past. As they pedaled on by, the past came to life, and forever our memories will last.